Welcome everybody to this video on the product rule of radicals. If you recall, the product rule of radicals states that when we have the root of a number times the root of another number, that is equivalent to the root of those two numbers multiplied together. That's what this rule states. And we can use this to our advantage to simplify expressions with radicals. So we're asked to simplify this square root of 6 times the square root of 18. Well, first ask yourself, can you take the square root of either one of these numbers? We can't take the square root of 6 and we can't take the square root of 18, but we can use our product rule of radicals to combine them under one square root. So square root of 6 times square root of 18 is the same as the square root of 6 times 18. And of course, if we multiply these two together, that gives us the square root of 108. And so you might think, hey, we're done. I'm done simplifying, but that's not necessarily the case. You want to see is if this number under the square root is divisible or has a perfect square factor. And if we look at 108, can we divide 108 by any perfect squares? Or does 108 have any perfect square factors? And I'm talking about the numbers that are perfect squares. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Can we divide 108 by any of those? And you can see that, yeah, we could actually divide it by 4. We could break it down into, what would that be? 4 times 27. Okay. Is there any bigger perfect squares that divide into 108? Actually, 36 does. So we can now break this radical down into the square root of 36 times 3. All right, so now we have the square root of 36 times 3. And how does that help us? Well, we can break it down again into square root of 36 times the square root of 3. And we know the square root of 36. Well, that's a perfect square. 36 is a perfect square. We can take the square root of it, which is 6. And then the square root of 3 is with it. So the simplified version is 6 times the square root of 3. And then always ask yourself, can you simplify the radical anymore? Can we simplify the square root of 3? Well, 3 is not a perfect square, so we can't simplify it. And 3 doesn't have any perfect square factors. So we know we are done at this point. So our simplified solution is 6 times the square root of 3.